What's up, YouTube? Today, I'm going to give you the ultimate brawler ranking for Brawl Ball. I'm going to tell you who the best and worst brawlers are for that mode and why. So, let's get into it. Alright, now if you're not familiar with my brawler rankings, I rank each brawler 1 through 21, and I also put them in a tier, S through F. Alright, let's start at the bottom, the F tier brawlers. We're going to do these all at once. And I do not really recommend you play F tier brawlers unless you are just playing for fun, basically, or kind of trolling. I would really not recommend you play these brawlers in Brawl Ball. At 21, it's going to be Bo, and at 20, it's going to be Piper. Neither of these brawlers are really that great for Brawl Ball. Specifically, their supers are definitely not that great for Brawl Ball. In general, they don't do consistent enough damage, and they don't really have the support attributes that you would want out of those sort of brawlers. All right, let's move on to the D tier. This one's going to be pretty quick. Only one brawler. At 19, it's going to be Daryl. Daryl is theoretically playable in Brawl Ball, but I'm really not going to recommend you play him. His super is definitely not suited for Brawl Ball. It's really not ever that usable. So as a tank, as a shotgun brawler, he's usable in that sense. He's an okay statistic brawler in that he can counter El Primo. He can deal with mortises, which you're going to see in Brawl Ball. So in that sense, he's not that bad. But as a primarily a ball carrier type brawler, you really do not want to play him. The only time you're really wanting to play Daryl is if you're doing triple tank. Triple tank can sometimes be a viable team comp in Brawl Ball, and that would be the best time to play Daryl. Alright, now into the C tier brawlers. These are brawlers that are either just fairly average in Brawl Ball, or maybe they're just pretty map specific. They might have some maps that they're pretty dang good on, and then on top of that, some maps that they're also just not very good on. Alright, now at 18, it's gonna be Bull. Bull is really similar to Daryl, and that's why he's at 18, but he's gonna be in C tier because his super is much more useful in heist. You can actually pass the ball forward and use his super, and on top of that, his super breaks down walls, which is definitely a needed attribute in Brawl Ball. Being able to break down walls, open up more lanes for you to shoot at the goal can be really, really important. So Bull definitely has a slight edge over Daryl in that respect, but he's going to have otherwise really similar attributes to Daryl, so he's not going to be that great of a brawler in Brawl Ball, but he is a little bit usable. At 17, it's going to be Poco. Poco definitely has some weaknesses. He does work best, though, with some high health team comps like with Nita or other tanks that heal can allow for strong offensive pushes, making them able to stay alive longer to maybe get the goal for you. But Poco is not the best defensive brawler. He doesn't deal damage very fast. He doesn't deal damage well versus other enemy tanks. And while he can get easy hits versus them, he's not going to be able to stop them from scoring goals very well. So Poco is an okay brawler for Brawl Ball, but he has some definite weaknesses. So he's going to be very team comp specific. At 16, it's going to be Crow. Now, Crow is a good support brawler in general, but Brawl Ball is really not his best mode. I mean, being able to poison people and stop them from healing can be very useful, but as a low health brawler, he's not going to be as aggressive as you really would want to be with Crow. There's also a lot of brawlers in Brawl Ball that Crow is not as strong against. Tauras, Nitas, El Primos, they're going to be hard for Crow to deal with once they're coming in and close to Crow, which is going to happen in Brawl Ball where you're trying to be close to the ball. You got to score goals. You got to defend against goals. Brawlers that have supers that can make them go up the map quickly. Crow is not going to be as good versus those. And he can deal with throwers, exactly, but there's not going to be a lot of throwers in Brawl Ball that often. So the brawlers that Crow faces in Brawl Ball is not going to be that many good matchups. So Crow is a usable brawler, but he's not that great. At 15, it's going to be Ricochet. Now, Ricochet is a good damage dealer, but he cannot break down walls, which is definitely really important in Brawl Ball. And basically, the reason he's even this high is because of a few maps. Maps like Triple Dribble, where he can really, really use his bounces, allows him to be really good on a map like that. But there's not many maps like that where Ricochet is super good because of the bounces. So he can be a good damage dealer, but he's not going to provide all the attributes that you would want out of someone of that role. So he's going to be decent, but he's not going to be that great. Now, as I tend to do with these types of brawlers, I'm going to do these next two all at once. At 14, it's Barley, and at 13, it's going to be Dynamite. This is a bit up to personal preference. In a lot of game modes, throwers tend to have a pretty similar success rate. A lot of times it is up to personal preference. Barley's going to be better at area control, and just area control, really. Dynamite's going to be better at getting higher amounts of damage, and he's going to have a better emergency stopper super with that higher damage and force knockback from his super, whereas Barley can do a lot of damage in a small period with his super, but it's not very accurate, and usually you're not going to be very successful using his super like that, or if you are, you're not facing very good opponents. It's basically meant as an area control super, so it's up to, but in general, throwers are really just going to be good on triple dribble, similar to Ricochet. There's not many maps meant for throwers on this mode. Also, they can tend to be killed fairly easily in this mode, so they're not going to be super great options, but if it is triple dribble, I would definitely recommend taking one of those brawlers if you like playing throwers. Now at 12 and finishing out the C tier, it's going to be Penny. Some people might argue for Penny in the B tier, but I really think she's more fit for the C tier. She has good overall statistics, and sometimes you can get people to group up well in Brawl Ball, and you might be able to get a decent amount of damage. And also in Brawl Ball, you go up and down the map a good amount, so you might be placing her turret and it might not always be useful, unlike say like Gem Grab, where it's almost always going to be in a useful spot. So Penny is a pretty good brawler at number 12, but I think she's definitely fits in the C tier, as she's not going to have any sort of wall break, which is definitely sometimes needed for support brawlers, so she's not going to be also a great emergency stopper. Like if there's a tank coming in or a mortis coming in, Penny is not going to be able to stop those from getting goals. They're just going to walk right through Penny. She can do 4 shots and they're still going to be able to survive. So Penny is going to be a good overall support brawler, but she's not going to be great in every other area. Now onto the B tier. These are brawlers that are pretty solid, not amazing, but they're definitely playable and good on a decent amount of maps. Now at number 11, it's going to be Pam. Now Pam is a support brawler like Penny, but there's a couple differences that put Pam above Penny. That healing turret is similar usefulness probably as Penny's cannon, definitely totally different. But Pam is better because 1, her high health allows her more potential for scoring goals, but 2, she's able to defend a good amount better, with able to deal a lot of damage at close range, which can be really important. I think her ability to deal a high amount of damage is definitely going to separate her from some other people below her on this list. Her healing turret can definitely be useful as well, depending on your team count, but overall Pam is going to be a pretty solid pick in Brawl Ball. At number 10, it's going to be Colt. Now Colt prefers more open maps where there's not as many walls in his way, so he can use his range to his advantage. Not all maps are like that in Brawl Ball, so Colt is definitely not usable on all maps, but on those maps where it is fairly open, like Backyard Bull, Colt can do really well, because he's going to be a good damage dealer, and with his ability to break down walls from a long range and deal damage, it can definitely be a good role for Colt as that high damage dealer that can break down walls. He's going to be able to carry a team if he hits a lot of shots. At 9, it's kind of a similar story. It's going to be Brock. Brock maybe doesn't quite need as much openness for him to be as successful, but he's going to be similar to Colt in that he's not going to be super consistent. If there are chances where Brock is not hitting many shots, he's definitely not going to be nearly that effective. But Brock has a lot of good attributes. He does good damage per shot. His star power that can stop you from healing and deal more damage. Of course, his super is an area super that breaks down walls, which, as I've said a couple times now, breaking down walls is really important in Brawl Ball, and actually breaks down more walls than Colt, so that can definitely open up the lanes really well for some of your offensive players. It's not going to be quite as good of a defensive super. It can be good for helping you win midfield. It's not going to be really helping you from stopping the enemy scoring goals. You're going to need to use his normal attack for that, but Brock has a really good success rate of hitting shots in close range. So that's where maybe he doesn't quite need as much of an openness map as Colt. It definitely helps though, because his range is of course one of his strengths. So overall, Brock's going to be a pretty good pick in Brawl Ball, but he's not going to be super consistent, so he's not going to be amazing. At number 8, it's going to be Jessie. Jessie to me is the most oppressive of all of the support brawlers in Brawl Ball. Her turret is going to be really good at getting damage, and it's going to be hard to deal with in Brawl Ball. A lot of brawlers in Brawl Ball have more high health and lower range. They don't deal a lot of damage from long range, so there's not a lot of brawlers that deal with Jessie's turret really well. On top of that, people do tend to group up a bit, so Jessie can get a good amount of hits, stop people from healing up, hit that one shot, and then hit someone who might be trying to heal behind a wall, stop them from healing. Top of that, her turret, as I said earlier, can be pretty oppressive, and a lot of people are not able to deal with it really well. So I really like Jessie as a support brawler. I also think she's not going to be super amazing, but she's playable on a lot of different maps in Brawl Ball. So Jessie to me is not to be underrated in Brawl Ball. Okay, at number 7, and the last of the B tier brawlers. This one may be a little controversial, but I think it's deserved. It's going to be Mortis. Mortis, one of the symbols of Brawl Ball, honestly, was what is supposed to be his best mode. I mean, the brawler who his attack is him dashing forward. But actually, he's not that amazing in Brawl Ball. He's definitely one of the highest skill brawlers in Brawl Ball. He has maybe one of the highest offensive potentials. Also, not a very good defensive potential either, though. So Mortis is a lot of give and take. I mean, look at Mortis in competitive play. If you watch a lot of esports for Brawl Stars, a lot of competitive play for Brawl Stars, Mortis does not get played that much. He gets countered too easily. A lot of the brawlers that are on the top of this list are really good versus Mortis. They counter Mortis really well. So it's definitely part of the reason you're not seeing Mortis higher. But as well, when there's delay with Mortis, if you're delayed at all with Mortis, it makes such a big impact on how successful he is. When I say delay, I mean like even like a 0.1 or 0.2 second delay on how soon or late he dashes forward has a really big impact on your success with Mortis. So if you have a perfect connection, perfect delay, this server is where you are, you might be able to do really, really well with Mortis, but it tends to be pretty variable. Also, it tends to depend on the team comp you're facing a lot. You can be countered pretty well by depending on the enemy team comp, or you might get lucky depending on what you're facing. It could be pennies, it could be throwers, but you never really know. So Mortis, while he is a B tier brawler, he is also at number 7 overall, so it's definitely a pretty good ranking. He has the potential to be an A tier brawler, but I think he's still a B tier brawler. Now, when the A tier brawlers that are really good in Brawl Ball, but might still have some weaknesses. At number 6, it's going to be Shelly. Shelly is the premier tank stopper. And you're going to see there's some tanks I haven't mentioned yet. Shelly is a really good defensive brawler. Of course, as a shotgun brawler, she does a ton of damage at close range. Her super is even better at that, but also her super breaks down walls, stuns people momentarily, and slows them down. So Shelly can not only be a defensive brawler, but can use offensively as well by breaking down walls, stunning people, slowing them down, allowing whoever has the ball on your team to sneak past them by them having to be interrupted. Of course, they can't shoot, and they're slowed down, so they can not be in their way as well too, so you can score the ball even easier. So Shelly is good in a lot of different areas. She's going to dominate on maps like Sneaky Fields. If the enemy team is very defensive, Shelly might struggle a little bit, but that tends to not be the case in a lot of Brawl Ball maps and just in general in Brawl Ball. So Shelly is going to be overall a really good pick for Brawl Ball. At number 5, it's going to be Frank. Frank can be such a presence in Brawl Ball. While he is a tank, he's not exactly going to be your offensive guy. It's really his super that is going to be such a presence. Once he gets that super, it only takes him 3 hits to get it. It's going to be really hard for A, the enemy team to advance up the map, or B, stop whoever your ball carrier is from scoring a goal if Frank is within range of you. Frank is going to be one of the best brawlers in Brawl Ball for getting the ball out of corners. That's such a common tactic in Brawl Ball for the enemy team to put it in their corner, either A, once they have the lead, or if they're taking a lot of pressure. Frank has a really long range on his super, and stunning the enemy from a long range and through walls, breaking the walls, is a very, very strong attribute, and that is probably the best attribute for being able to get the ball out of the corner and going and scoring a goal. I mean, it's going to stun them, keep them there, and he's probably going to kill them too, build up his next super as well, so once you come back, he has a super again. So Frank is really, really strong in Brawl Ball. Of course, he has some weaknesses. He's going to be countered by some other close-range brawlers, and with him, he's going to give up some hits to the enemy as well because he stops to do his attack. He's going to charge up the super some. He definitely has some weaknesses, but he's overall a really strong presence in Brawl Ball, and he can have a big impact on a game. Now, number 4, it's going to be El Primo. El Primo is arguably the best offensive option in Brawl Ball. Definitely the best ball carrier with a high amount of health and a super that allows him to pick and choose where he wants to land, knock back people, deal damage to them, and then he can go forward with his high amount of health. He can even just walk past them sometimes and score a goal. So El Primo is really good, as I said, as an offensive option. He might not be the best defensive option, but if he does have his super, he can be pretty good because he can go ahead and jump on them, knock the ball out of their hands, and in close range, he can eventually deal a good amount of damage and hopefully get his super back as well. And on top of all that, he can break down walls with his super, which, as I've said, is definitely a very good attribute. So El Primo is going to be a really good option in Brawl Ball. At number 3, it's going to be Nita. Nita is a really good support brawler for Brawl Ball. In Brawl Ball, there tends to be a good amount of walls, and with Nita's range, it's not very long, it's not super short like a shotgunner, but it allows but it allows Nita to be really successful. She can poke out behind those walls, just go in and out, shooting brawlers and building up her bear. And once that bear is up, it allows your team to make a good push. Another over 5,000 health on the field forces the enemy team to have to deal with that bear, push them back, which is really important for establishing map control and getting closer to the goal. So Nita can be really good at helping your team get closer to the goal, score goals. She's going to be pretty good defensively. She's going to not counter, but she's going to do well versus some of those other brawlers like El Primo, Mortis. And she's going to get a good amount of hits on those brawlers and build up her bear even more. And of course, as I said, her bear is mostly really good for pushing the enemy back. It's not going to be a great emergency stopper, but overall, Nita is really consistent and she's good on basically every single Brawl Ball map. Now in the top 2 and the S tier brawlers. These brawlers are arguably overpowered and good on pretty much every single map. At number 2, it's going to be Spike. Yes, Spike, one of the best brawlers in the game, is also really good at Brawl Ball. He can deal a lot of damage, he has a good amount of range, and he can peek out behind walls pretty well, similar to Nita, which is really useful in Brawl Ball. Top of that, he can shoot sort of around walls with his spikes, and also his super is really good at area control, and is good especially in Brawl Ball, because it can slow people down, and as an area control super, if you know where people are going, which sometimes, and definitely in Brawl Ball, you know where people are trying to go, so it can be really good allowing your team to have more time to set up a better defense, and he can just deal a good amount of damage. He's going to be a good defensive stopper. He's not going to break down walls for you, but he's going to deal a good amount of damage, supply area control, and he's good on basically every single map. Now at number 1 and the best brawler in Brawl Ball, it's going to be Tara. Tara's super allows her to be insanely strong in Brawl Ball. The ability to get 1 or 2 kills fairly easily is so big, allowing whoever your ball carrier is to just push up past the map and go ahead and score a goal. Or as a defensive stopper, someone is threatening to score a goal on you, Tara super is one of the best ways to stop that. Not only completely stopping them in general, but pulling them away from wherever they were trying to go and dealing damage to them and throwing up, if you have her star power, something else for them to deal with, can be so strong. Now she's not going to be super OP early game when she doesn't have her super, but once she gets her super, she is going to be really hard to deal with. She can be such a force. She provides such a swing on the momentum of the game is going. Tara is going to be the best brawler in Brawl Ball. You want to see the best brawlers for other game modes or just overall? Check out that playlist over there. I got a bunch of other great brawler rankings. Hope you enjoyed today's video. Thank you so much for watching, and I'll catch you later.